celebrate, exfoliate. Ooh yeah, yeah, yeah. This feels so good. Ooh yeah, yeah, yeah. I most definitely should activate, 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 activate. This day gonna be a good day. Me no competing. Me go activate, celebrate, exfoliate. Ooh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Introduce yourselves and the pronouns that you guys associate yourselves with.
Okay, hi everybody. I am Daddy T.
Daddy.
AKA T Roy. Some people know me as that too. And I identify as gender non-conforming, so you say whatever. You
Okay.
say he, she, they, them. I'm down with it. As long as it's said in a tone of respect,
Okay.
I'm here to receive your energy.
Okay.
Hi guys. Hello.
Is it on? Okay.
So, my name is Ayabonga. I go by Aya. Yeah, same. Just anything. He, they, them. Doesn't really matter to me. Yeah. My identity is for me. Yeah.
Okay.
Hi guys, my name is Kamal, Budumo, and I go by whatever, man. Them, there, they, he, she. It is what it is.
Okay, I'm good. And do you guys feel safe going out, and do you feel free with how you present yourself in public, and why is that?
Well, I'll start. So I basically feel free every time because I'm very confident. And I grew up in Johannesburg, so it's so much easier to kind of navigate the streets if you know what it's like.
Yeah.
But then I moved to Pretoria for school, and that whole scenario changed the game because there you even more, like you can avail yourself even more and be even more queer, and people will still avail themselves to you. So people are more free and more like accepting of queer bodies, like it's literally a party. You know Pretoria, get my piano, guys. Come on now. Yeah, we're jumping tigers now, so.
I have to challenge that.
No,
Because,
okay, fine.
I mean, we say it's safe, né? But don't you think there's certain areas and certain spaces where if you conform just a little bit, or if you fit a certain character and they can place you, then push up, it's cool.
Bona.
Because when people, and it was said earlier that we have to define ourselves as something, right? And I find that Pretoria is one of those places that reminds me of, okay, if these people know who you are and where you're coming from, then it's fine. Why can't we enter spaces undefined?
Okay, I think I was.
No. I mean, speaking as a non-Joburger and someone who's from like the Eastern Cape and probably had a very different experience. It was never safe. You know, it was never safe. I went to a boys' school, a rugby school, and there was never, Sia Kulisi. We played great, actually. But never. There was never a point in my life in where I grew up where I felt safe, even with my own family. Not that they were abusive or anything, but it was just like, you always knew that being yourself was not safe. So I think even coming to Joburg, this is my 10th year. I moved here in 2009.
Oh, wow.
And I think only in the last 3 years have I been able to navigate as this person that you see in front of you now. Otherwise, they were these conformities and these shape-shifting and these code-switching things that happened all the time. Now I can safely say this person is the same person at work, is the same person on the club, is the same person at the library, you know? But before it wasn't like that, so yeah.
But I also think on that factor, like, I think the digital era also kind of put us in a very good position because now people are more exposed, people are seeing like more gay people, and the fact that gay people are excelling at such an excessive rate, we're able to actually express ourselves at the rate that we're currently doing now. So obviously in the rural areas there's WhatsApp and WhatsApp videos, and you're gonna see a young drag queen and you're like, how? But you're thinking to yourself, damn, this is actually visibility for queer people. So we're actually in a different era as compared to 10 years ago when I got to Soshanguve and I was like, God damn, I gotta really conform just so that I survive, you know? But I feel what you're saying and I agree with what you're saying.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And what do you guys describe as safe queer spaces, if at all?
Le Grand Ball.
Okay. Bold statement.
Pussy party. Basically, actually, I just put this up on Instagram. Actually, the people that were sitting here, I was sitting there just like, oh wait, these are all my favorite parties in Joburg. Because, bitch, I'm in a tutu. The next thing, I'm in a pink wig. You know, and it's just like, and it doesn't matter. Like people genuinely are just like, ah yeah, and that's it. Like it doesn't matter what the hell you have on or what you know, and I think that's a queer safe space for me. Leave the queer stuff. I know we're talking a lot about the queer stuff, and I know Mr. Olivet actually touched on the humanity sort of stuff, which does kind of water down a lot what we're trying to do, but it's like a I don't see color thing. You have to see color because color exists and it's in everything. And queerness exists and it's in everything. But I think in those spaces, you are human, you are respected, you are seen, you are heard. It's like the best fucking thing.
Yeah, I think everything they said, and just for me, going back to the respect thing, once people respect who you are and mind their own business, to be frankly honest, because people ask a lot of questions and want to start a lot of conversations that they actually have no place having. And it's like, do we know each other? Do we have a level of familiarity for you to be approaching these subjects? But I guess in contrast to that, it's also kind of interesting when people you normally wouldn't have certain conversations with decide to explore as ignorantly as they want to explore. Like, you know, cis het men are out here asking you, oh, you're wearing heels. Okay, what's that about? Like, are you turning into a woman now? Are you transgender? What's your story? And sometimes the curiosity sparks, you know, and it's like, I have a teaching moment and an opportunity to enlighten someone here. So I think safe spaces crop up in different ways, and they can be in different venues. Even in terms of working in a corporate environment, I mean, people don't expect a lot of us like Sally Work who are out here walking these corporate streets, but still trying to stay true to who we are. And I think my journey's been interesting over 5 years working in corporate, where I walked in and I was told to keep the conversations heterosexual. And, you know, this Afrikaans man tried to put me in my place, and I was like, whatever.
What is your place anyway?
And, you know, at the end of the day, it led to a space where people want to embrace difference. People want to even explore different sides of themselves. They may not say it publicly, and that's okay, but, you know, growth and respect are huge proponents that I value in a space that claims to be safe.
Okay. And what do you guys expect when attending an event as a queer body? No pressure.
I don't.
Go first.
Sorry, could you please repeat that?
No, look, I don't.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. It's actually changed through, like now I know the spaces I go into, so there's not really much expectations. I just know I'm going to have a good time. But there was a time where I would literally change what I'm wearing because of like, I don't know what to expect. Like literally, I'm like, wait, call my Uber, and then I cancel it. And then I change. Because I'm just like, also, the Uber driver is going to give me shit. The place that I'm going to, I don't really know what's going to happen. Whereas if I know it's a pussy party, if I know it's the same sex, if I know it's Le Grand, if I know it's Vogue nights, I know I'm turning it out and I'm just representing myself. But like, yeah, there are times where it's you don't know what to expect.
Even in those evenings where you're going to an event that's safe, right? The journey there.
The journey, yes.
It's still a
sometimes
preservation
I
journey
choose
that
to
you're
drive.
trying
Sometimes I choose to drive. I'm just like, actually, I'm just going to drive because then I don't have to like explain what's happening. Where they're just like, and I'm just like, whatever. Eventually we'll get, I don't know. I don't know how to answer that. I don't know what to expect. You just
There's no right answer, really.
But I think with lesbians it's a bit different because like we just expect you to accommodate us because we're women, so we kind of use it as pretty privilege. Like I literally use my pretty privilege. I get in there and I'm like, oh, I'm pretty, yeah. That's it.
Okay.
Accommodate me.
Okay.
Like, are you gonna accommodate me? You know, I get in the Uber. I'm like, hi, Malume, what's up? We're going to kitcheners. Yeah, sure. You know, you use that pretty privilege because you don't know if you want to assume a more masculine figure or you want to assume a more feminine figure because you're also looking at your own safety. But with a guy, it's like a totally different spectrum. Like as you heard, he's like, no, you're not sure if you want to turn it up to that extent or you want to keep it at, mid-level. So it's kind of like you just need to look at the scenario, if the space is accommodating, as well as where you're headed. I think it's just, basically the energy. It does, because heteronormative spaces you don't have to read no room, you rock up as you are. So I think with queers it's like just accommodating at the respect level like you mentioned.
Describe a time when you felt safe and validated at an event. No pressure.
I think the last time, on the side of like a specific event, what I've aimed to do when I go play as a DJ at certain venues or whatever is that's my event. For that hour or 2 or 3 or 4 that I've been booked for, I'm curating not only the music but the mood and the vibe and the space. And for me, what that affords me is that I don't give a fuck what energy you came to this party with, but the energy I've come with is
receive
it to us.
Receive it.
You know what I'm saying? Let's level up. Let's actually be better than when we came in. I mean, a lot goes into it, but I think at the end of the day, owning your own space, and Kumo spoke to it in terms of confidence, I think that needs to permeate around you and influence the environment around you, and that gives you the validation, because at the end of the day we seek a whole lot of validation, like see me, love me, book me, and it's all valid at the end of the day, but how you feel about yourself, sis? Like, are you about yourself? Are you backing yourself? Are you in your own corner? And we all struggle with that. I mean, I personally struggled with that for a long time. But yeah, there's certain spaces, I guess, where you do feel more comfortable, and when it is aimed at the queer community, it creates that vibe, even going in.
I don't think I remember the question.
Okay. That's all
Can
good.
you please repeat the question, fam?
That's all good. Have you ever had an altercation while in public or while attending an event? And if so, how did you handle it?
We
Spicy.
fought. We fought. I snatched wigs.
You slashed wigs?
I threw hands. I threw them hands.
What?
It was the ghetto.
Wild.
Nothing was cute.
Nicely summarized there.
Someone outside.
Yeah, I don't know. It happens. It happens. I think. Yeah, even, and this is the thing. Like, we speak about safe spaces and the queer body, and I like that that's almost separated, because like safe spaces aren't queer spaces almost, because even in those queer spaces, there's some really like dodgy ass motherfucking shit where it's like, yeah, we're all queer, but then it's like, why is your hand in my top? I don't fucking know you. I think it's very important to note that, like, safe spaces, like Coco said, it's experimental. At the end of the day, we are people, we all have our traumas, we all have our things, and sometimes a lot of us like to exhibit those things on other people, and it happens like a lot. And I think there's been a lot of things, but I think people, and to what you were saying about like back yourself, own yourself, people get really riled up when someone shows up as themselves. It's almost the most terrifying thing that you can do to another person is to be yourself. And I think that's why we suffer so much as queer, gay, trans, the whole thing. It's just like, who do you think you are that you can show up like this while we have to do that's what I found. Like every time I get closer to being authentic and closer to being myself, people are just like, no.
How dare you?
How fucking dare you? No, because that's what people do, guys. Like, that's what we do, you know? And we fucking hate it. And that's how you deal with it. You're just like, you actually don't matter in this very specific time, so you get on and you keep going because I'm having the best time of my life right now.
I'm still going to snatch your wig, though.
Snatch your wig, snatch your wig, snatch your wig.
And it's sad, like, this theme keeps coming up in conversations about growing up in this community as an adult, and even growing up outside of this community but still being the body you are, is how you are trained to have that comeback. Like, you know that you have to snatch that wig at the end of the day, otherwise,
that wig.
you know, you that bitch ass nigga. And you don't want to be that bitch ass nigga.
Yes.
Choppy, just guys, they done you. They finished with you. You know what I'm saying? And it's sad to me that even as adults, like, seeing 30, over 30, seeing 40, whatever you are, we're still resorting to this survivalist mentality amongst each other. And that's why I'm just like, mind your own, sis.
But
Pick
also-
the topics when they're relevant to you.
I also feel like it's a lack of emotional intelligence. Like, we're not necessarily mature enough to kind of conduct ourselves in the way that we're taught. We look at things, we're like, actually, fuck the emotional intelligence, I'm about to go off. When in actual fact, it could be addressed in a certain way. But in the same breath, when you do address it in an emotionally intelligently way, people are still looking at you like, oh, you're too calm, sis. Why are you being so calm, sis?
But you're
You know?
picking your battles.
You know what I'm saying? It's like you pick your battles, and I think that's what we need to address, like, as queers. The emotional intelligence aspect is so important. So, yeah, that's my chat, man.
Okay, and how do you deal with event staff who might not adhere to the safe space provided by the event organizers?
The straight bomb and child that look over you.
The bodyguards at the door.
Yes, name some more.
You got the microphone.
Khawuthethe kodwa kuthule wena.
No, but it's real. Like, even in a space where they've trained their staff to say, hey, there's a queer event happening tonight, these kind of people are going to be around, they still like shock horror when on a little veg without an A- cup, whatever.
A-.
You know, and they still like skip over you for the cis hetero person, whether it's a man or a woman.
Yeah.
And they're like, you know, your presence is negated in a space, regardless of whether it's been engineered to be safe or it's been engineered to be whatever. And I guess for me, growing up in a heavily Christian environment, I just learned, I'm gonna skip over you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's sad when you have to engage with someone, but where I can choose, I'm literally going to skip over you because you are not contributing positively to my life and my energy, so why? Why engage? And even when a little veg without an A- cup, whatever.
A-.
You know? And they still like skip over you for the cis hetero person, whether it's a man or a woman.
Yeah.
And they're like, you know, your presence is negated in a space, regardless of whether it's been engineered to be safe or it's been engineered to be whatever. And I guess for me, growing up in a heavily Christian environment, I just learned, I'm gonna skip over you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's sad when you have to engage with someone, but where I can choose, I'm literally going to skip over you because you are not contributing positively to my life and my energy, so why? Why engage? And even when it does become one of those situations where I have to engage with you, you're a barman, I need a drink, I'm thirsty, you're a bar bouncer and I need to get inside, my friends are there. At the end of the day, you have to come back to self, and it's a very difficult thing to do. It sounds like a cliche that's, you know, widely practiced, but it's hard to just like say, you know what, I'm okay within myself, I know why I'm here, let's just woosa and get through the situation. Because confrontation, and I've seen a lot of friends want to confront situations. Hi, ke kgathetse, guys, yo. Like, how many people must I fight in order to say my presence
Why are you
is
fighting
worthy?
even?
And the beautiful thing of growing up, seeing these safe spaces transform and form and create and innovate, is that you end up not having to fight as many times as you used to. Not having to affirm yourself and say, I am here and I'm worth recognizing so many times.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just want to comment in that to what T was saying. Some of the times they can have the education there to the staff and all of that sort of stuff, and it just doesn't translate. Because
Doesn't resonate.
it doesn't resonate
Yeah.
because a lot of the times people need something to be so close to them until they get it. Like, you only feel gender-based violence when, like, it's your sister, your mom, and stuff like that. And it's the same thing when there's like a gay now. It's like, oh, my cousin's gay, cool. Oh, I get it. Cool, I'm totally down. And like, even what I saw with like Pride Month, when like brands hop on and they do all this sort of stuff, and they probably tell everyone this is what we're doing, but it just doesn't translate. I remember walking into a store, it was a Levi's store, and I mean, no shade, but I'm just telling the story. It was a Levi's store, and there's this giant poster with like a pride flag, and they had trans people and non-binary and da-da-da-da. And I walk in, my non-binary ass is just like looking now at the lady, there's this cute pink crop top with a Levi's, and I'm like, ooh, I'm just like, can I get this inside? And then his response to me, in this gay-themed store, is just like, oh, the men's is upstairs. So I'm like,
Oh my God.
that wasn't my
Cringe,
question.
yeah.
You know? But it is that thing. They probably got the training. They got a nice email with the packs and stuff, but
So in December,
you know, it's empty,
yeah.
and really, you kind of just hope that people get it, because it's constantly learning, it's constantly being in the faces of it, and it's the choices around that.
I think on that point of learning, I think it's just relearning, unlearning. Because obviously we're in a society that's just stuck in its ways, and traditionally, culturally, you know, we're like, yo, umdoda, umfazi, you know what I'm saying? So I think it's just the point of unlearning and relearning, and by the point that we get, at the point where we can actually learn visibly about queer bodies, and we don't have to judge them. I think that will be like the pinnacle of what is happening currently and what we're trying to aim for and strive for as queer bodies.
Okay. And so in closing, what would be your ideal safe, queer event and space in general?
Monate Mpolaye.
Okay.
I don't know. A party by myself in my bedroom.
No.
No?
No. No.
I don't know. I don't speak in ideal, but there are a lot. There's the ones that I've pointed out: so Vogue Nights, La Grande, Pussy Party, the mood parties. Hello.
Hidden parties.
Those, because those are some people with some high EQ who are trying to transform the space, who are actually listening and actually care and ask the questions. I think as long as you're asking the questions, like I'm there.
Asking and learning and not just asking. Yeah,
not just being like, but you always that, but we can't do that. And I'm just like, that means like you don't actually give a shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Zariti?
I think like a genuine movement. So many times, as I pointed out earlier, you get a lot of corporates and businesses that want to claim the trend of let's be LGBTIQA plus positive and push that message. But are you actually supporting the community? Are you actually creating platforms for those people in those communities to have a voice, and not just in terms of performance? Because as a queer community, we know we're entertaining. We keep y'all enthused, honey. Like, you guys love
Yes,
it.
you do.
You know, you eat it up.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
Yes,
At
honey.
the end of the day, it's not just about, the entertainment factor,
Yeah.
because blackface entertained the majority of a population at some point. A whole lot of problematic shit entertained the majority of the public at some point. And now it's a time where we're actually looking for real stakeholdership, real presence, real belonging, and not the belonging where you tolerate me, but the belonging where you respect me and allow me to be me. And I think that's the thing for me, is that kind of safe, queer, what else did you say?
Safe queer event and space, basically, yeah.
That kind of thing exists when we do what Mr. Oliver was referring to, what I also alluded to. I think we've all actually highlighted it, is that human aspect. And I think sometimes when we get into conversations where people are like, I don't see color, I don't see gender and sex and sexual orientation, I still don't understand the I don't see color one. You'll revisit me on that one. But,
Slavery is a choice.
When it comes to I don't see the gender, sex, sexual orientation,
Yeah.
that speaks to my dreams. That speaks to what I want to live in a world where I don't have to be concerned about it. I can still see it, but it doesn't have to worry me, and it doesn't have to affect my existence necessarily. You know what I'm saying?
I think
And that's
I think overall, like, corporates need to stop making queer bodies like a frivolous act. Like, they need to stop making it frivolous, as you're saying.
on that
Like,
point, I am wearing
take
my
us serious.
corporate,
yes. Yes, honey. Yes, honey.
recently did
Let's go.
LGBTIQA plus campaign.
What you saying now?
I will proudly represent that because I was actually involved in it. And when queer bodies are actually involved in
It
voicing
shakes.
out those things,
Yeah.
and it's not just the face. Oh, let's find a cute gay influencer to say, oh, we're LGBTQI. No, let's transform the space. Let's break barriers. Let's open the doors. Let's say that you don't only belong in this space, and you don't only add to our tax credits and our tax rebates by having you here, but you actually part of defining our brand,
Preach.
our culture.
Preach.
That's when we actually in a safe space.
Preach.
Yes, yes. Okay, guys, thank you so much for your input, for your energy, and just overall for just being here. And do have a lovely night further, and I'll see you guys just now. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Okay, I won't forget it. Thank you so much for joining us tonight, guys. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Thank you for your input. Thank you for the laughs. Thank you for everything. Thank you for the laughs. Do have a safe night further. And do have join us for drinks. Join us for extra music. Join us for drinks. Travel safe. And also please follow us on Tint and also please follow us on all social media platforms. ZA on all social media platforms. Yes. Thank you guys. And on YouTube. Yes. Thank you guys.